This next one's called noobCode 1, Supersize me, or rather this integer. Write a function that rearranges an integer into its largest possible value. Consider these examples. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is transformed into 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's the largest number made with these digits. And then example 2 is 105, which gets rearranged to 510. Finally, you have 12, and that gets rearranged to 21. So hopefully you see the pattern here that essentially you're putting the largest number in front, and they're sort of ordered that way because each of these places in the decimal number system, right, they have increasingly higher weights. So you want your largest values to be in the larger weight columns, you know, in the larger number places to make the biggest number possible. It says if the argument passed through is a single digit or is already the maximum possible integer, your function should simply return it. So go ahead and come over to code and try this one out. Resume the video when you're ready. If you need a hint, you can save yourself possibly a lot of heartache by leveraging the string class, converting the number to a string, and then doing what you need to do and converting back. And that's what I'm going to do for my solution. Makes life easier. So to start, I'll say, let's just do the conversion first. I'll call it numText, which is num to string. We've seen toString before. Great, so now we have it in a string form. And then with that, we can use some link methods to transform. So I can say, but before I even do that, let's just go ahead and bring those libraries in. I'm going to say using system, because I'm going to add a log statement. And then I'll say using system link to use the link methods. So I've got this string numText, so I could say numText. And then do you remember the enumerable method for sorting? We've used one in the past. We've at least used ordered by, but in this case, we don't want ascending order, right? We want the opposite. We want the numbers in descending order, starting from the highest and progressively getting lower in value. So there is a version called order by descending. And then I don't need to do anything special with the input. Remember, this string is just a collection of characters. I'm just going to route each character in unmodified. There's nothing special I have to do with it. So it'll just take the character as it is, examine it, compare it against the other characters, and sort of do its rearranging magic like that. So with this, oops, I'm actually just going to reassign to the variable the result of ordering it in descending order. But remember, this isn't quite complete, right? When we use these link methods, we get these generic collections back. And so if I want to assign it to a string, I've got to make sure it is a string. And we've had this issue in the past. We know that we can construct a string by passing in an array of characters, right? And we know that link provides this handy toArray method that allows us to transform our generic collection into an array. And then finally, the string constructor can take the character array and make a string from it. So I just basically had the original number stored here, and then I don't really have any use for that, so I just overwrote the variable here with the new ordered value. So you could probably just omit this first line and just put num to string order by descending if you want to condense it. That's fine. So great, now we have the characters in descending order. So the last question that remains, something you're equipped for, is how do you get from the string back to a number, an actual number, not just a string representation of a number. And also be aware that in this case, we're not dealing with an integer, the int, this is a long version. So we've got to accommodate that to get the right return type. So to deal with this, we know that we have this convert class we've been using a lot, right? And do you remember how there's a 64 version? A lot of times we see the 32 for regular integers, but there's a 64, and this will cover us for longs. And so if I say pass num text, the ordered one in there, this should do the trick and get us back to a long. If you'd like, you could log the input here just to make sure we understand everything. We can see it running. So you could put the original parameter passed in there. You could add num text to make sure it's being rearranged in the way that you expect it to. And so if you run this looks good. Yeah. And so, yeah, you can see here in the log, num is the parameter that we're given, and see how it got rearranged to 96. That nice magic here by order by descending. And you see all the examples from the test cases. 513 goes to 531. 2017 went to 7210, etc. So definitely not necessary, but when you have trouble or you just kind of want to see how things work, these log statements can be quite handy. So I'll run I'm going to get rid of it. I will run the attempt. Looks good. We could submit. I suppose I could transform it to one line. I'm not hell-bent on doing that, so that's okay. But you can if you want. I know a lot of people like that. So I'll go ahead and submit it as is. Yeah, hopefully you didn't get caught trying to work in integer form where you were sort of grabbing each of the digits, storing them in some collection of integers, then maybe you sorted them, and then maybe you were trying to build a long from that. You iterate over the collection and you're sort of multiplying each value by its place weight. You know, if it's the ones place, you'd multiply it by 10 to the 0. If it's the ones place, 10 to the 1. If it's the hundreds place, you're multiplying it by 10 squared, etc. That's a lot more work that needed to be done, but you could do it that way too. And maybe that's a good exercise. But I'll go ahead and submit this as is. And yeah, they just threw it all in one line. Same thing we did, just on one line. People like that here. Wow. See what I mean? You do not want to do this. Wow. Wow. What a headache. Look at all these if-else statements. That hurts just to look at. It's like they covered the whole range of long, the possible length of it, to get the size of it. You know, you could have converted it to a string and just grabbed the length of it, and they checked for a number above every possible. Wow, that hurts. Just to get this size variable. So yeah, oof. Don't do that. Anyway, if you came up with something else, feel free to share. I like seeing solutions. And then hit me up with questions. Otherwise, we'll keep moving. Thanks for watching.